This is Kyle the Beast. This is Wrestling IQ 101. Don't be a puny human. Subscribe, like, and follow.
Welcome back to another edition of Wrestling IQ 101. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. I'm sitting here with Pat and Derek.
Yo.
And our special guest all the way from the forest, Kyle the Beast.
Yo, I feel like it's the right way to say hi here. So, what's up?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Good, not too bad, not too bad.
You've been wrestling for a while.
Yeah.
Can you kind of tell us, well, people that don't know, can you kind of tell us how you got started in the wrestling business?
Sure, absolutely. One of the companies I work for to this day is UWA Elite. Owner and boss man is Dave Swan. Dave Swan was friends with my older brothers who were in the business at the time already, and he was fortunate and very nice enough to bring fat 14-year-old Kyle to wrestling school in Lake Hiawatha, New Jersey, where I started my training, and then I started wrestling in the junior division for ECPW under their unruly training of Gino Caruso.
Kind of how, what made you want to get into wrestling?
I mean, I've basically it's been a tag along from my brothers. They were always into it, so I was just brought up into it. Whether it was either messing around at home or whatever, into finally leading into that moment where I was training and everything like that. Basically, my brothers were main influence on me. So,
can you talk about the progression of UWA Elite, because you were there pretty early,
yeah,
till now, and your journey there too? So a little bit of two kind of questions.
There was this time and period where UWA Elite was, I mean, call it what it is. It was a backyard fed, and we were all doing it, and that's where we all met. I met Dave at the first point, and then travel along a couple of years. That's when Dave started producing a show called Showcase at ECPW, where he had a lot of his guys that were training at ECPW who were also part of the UWA Elite. It's where he got everybody, and then there was a transitional phase where we had a ring, and we really had nowhere to rent out, no money to rent out, no funding or anything like that. So we took a ring and we put it in the backyard, and we just filmed TV shows or tapings, whatever you want to call it, or something like that. And it seemed not too legitimate, but we had people like Biggie Biggs and Magic coming to this backyard in Sayreville, New Jersey to film these tapings with us. So it was getting a bad rep at first, but when people saw, like, holy shit, that's fucking Magic in a backyard wrestling with some fucking white dudes, like, everyone was like, oh, I guess they're trying to be a little bit serious. And then slowly it started progressing. We started running Dave Swan started running shows at Funtime America in Cliffwood Beach. We first had our 300th episode of Meltdown, which was our, like, big 300th episode of a show, my bad. Meltdown was one of the shows back in the day. But then right there, after that, just snowballed into running to Darris Theater in Boonton. And then just led to finding that awesome spot in South River with Holy Trinity Church, where we've been running to this day.
You've come like a long way. I'll tell you, Andrew was the first one who sold me on you. He used to always tell me, yo, I got this boy, Kyle the Beast, man. Yo, we gotta go see this guy. And then, I believe we're at was it JPW show?
You were at JP, but I think you went to a JCW show too with me.
Yeah, that's what I saw. And I saw you wrestling. I was like, oh man, this guy is pretty sick. And then now it's like, you are like literally like, I feel at least like a predominant like indie wrestler, at least in the Jersey area. And I feel like, you always see like Kyle the Beast, Kyle the Beast, Kyle the Beast. Like you're a big name now. What kind of like, have you done from, your point of starting to right now to kind of get to where Kyle the Beast is a predominant name in indie wrestling right now?
Well, we could start right back from the beginning where I was training ECPW, and I was 5'8", 5'9", 340 pounds of gelatinized fat, and I was good, but I mean, there was nothing special about me. I lost a bunch of weight. I dropped down from 340 to 210 pounds. And then since then, I've just been lifting. But it was a slow transition back into it. I was just that happy, jolly, gimmicky kind of guy, Kyle Smiley. And then when I got back in good shape, I worked a couple matches. And everyone's like, oh, my God. Dude, Kyle, you're a fucking beast. Like, holy shit. Like, I was like, oh, beast. And then, like, I just stuck with it. And then the more I just kept sticking with it, the more I kept getting into my character, the evolution of the beast, basically bringing myself to the woods and just living there. It just is what it is. It becomes more and more every time I go out there. I feel it more and more every time. So,
how did the face paint come about?
Actually, surprisingly enough, face paint, the first time I did it, I think, was at an SWF show in Brick and or Avenel. I wanted to add a little bit more to the character. I don't know. I always thought like when a warrior or a soldier goes into battle, they always have something that marks them for who they are, and that's why I went with the sun. You know what I mean? The show black and white, both sides of the spectrum. So that's why I just went with it. It's like my war paint.
Yeah, I like that.
Definitely. Yeah. And kind of like talking about like war paint, I see you got some sick tattoos as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking. The first thing I see is the apple.
Yeah.
You gotta tell me what is the apple? What's the purpose of the apple?
Well, Andrew's actually pretty well known to the apple. That's actually where I first met Andrew when he was in his faction, Brown and Jew, and he's come to ice work at Applebee's. And one day, one of my friends just came up to me and said, "Hey, man, you should get an Applebee's tattoo." And I said, "Hey, man, sure." And I did. And I mean, I don't regret it. People are like, "Oh, you regret that? Like, what do you quit? You're going to get a chili pepper on the other side and work at Chili's?" Like, but I mean, I don't regret it at all. Applebee's was a big part of my life, and I met a lot of really great people. People I still know to this day, Mike Seaway being one of them. So, Mike Cartazone, whatever you want to call him. Yeah. But yeah, I met a lot of great people through Applebee's, so I don't regret it at all.
Yeah, you just had a tribute show where his partner passed away.
Yes, Mike Davis. January 14th, UWA Elite ran a show at South River, New Jersey, where it was called Setting the Standard, where we paid tribute to one of our recently fallen members of our family, Mike Davis. And it was great. It was a great show and everything like that. But we had a Hall of Fame ceremony in the beginning for Mike Davis, where we had him and his parents and his family there to accept the award from, which was an awesome thing to see. That people just come out and show their love for somebody like that. So,
and so also like in the beginning of your career, you got to team up with Monster Mac. So just talk about that experience a little bit.
Working with Mac was something that really never was like a thought until we started beating the shit out of each other every show. It was we were wrestling each other back and forth, once in Queens, once in Howell, once in Manville. And JCW, at the time, JCW was lacking in a tag team division, and we thought, hey, why don't we stick our characters together and make something good out of it? And that's when we created the B Squad. And Mac lit a fire under my ass, and I think I lit a fire on his ass because he's doing great stuff with Moff right now. And yeah, it was a great experience. I learned a lot from him. Patience was one of them. And obviously, it brought me to great heights in JCW, now GCW, as we captured Tag Team Gold. So it was a great experience.
You got to face the Steiner brothers there, too. How was facing them?
Steiner brothers was great, man. Working the Steiners I really did not expect much of it at first. I thought it was like, oh, just another payday. Here it is. Here we go. Like as far as like the Steiners go, but they're very nice people. I did not expect Scott to be as nice as he was.
Really?
To be honest, yeah, he was really nice, really easy to work with, and he had nothing but positive feedback for me and Mac, and it was a good match. You know what I mean? Besides Rick farting in the middle of the ring, but like it was a good match. Yeah. I mean, it's, when you get that old, shit just falls out of you. So
now with your partnership with Mac. Was it kind of like something you guys had talked about, or were you guys like put together? Or
it was something, yeah. After the matches, it was something we did talk about, and then, like I said, it was something that JCW at the time needed was that tag team division, and it was like battle. It was like the only really tag teams there were me and Mac and EYFBO, and then they brought in the Headhunters for that Jersey tag team cup, and then there was a couple other teams I really forget though, but yeah,
because we talked to Dan Moff, and Dan Moff gave us a funny story about how Monster Mac didn't want to be with him at first before they became the great hit squad that they are now. So I was just interested to see if he was like, "Oh man, I don't want to be with Kyle." He's like, "Oh, if he."
I think he definitely saw something in me. I don't know what it was, but he definitely saw something in me, and he's like, "I want to team with you." So, and I was hey, why can I not learn from somebody like him? So
he definitely, when he was on the show, he definitely spoke highly of you for sure.
Yeah, quick transition. You've been also working with Dan Moff too.
Not yet.
But you were at ringside with him at Jersey Up.
Oh yes, yeah.
Have you picked his brain at least a little bit? Or?
I really haven't got the chance to. Definitely something I should do, but he's one of those people who I'm really not on the same shows as him.
Yeah.
Like JP was probably the only time I was on a show with him in a long time. So
you came right to his aid and Mac's aid in that match with Homicide and Loki.
Yeah.
And Joker got in there. You had a match prior with Joker. Can you talk about working with Joker?
Yeah, working Joker was probably one of my hardest matches ever. I mean, he's really no joke. He is a hard-hitting SOB, and I will definitely. He's an animal as far as it goes. So, and he's very intimidating too. First time I looked at someone across the ring and said, "Holy shit, this guy's fucking crazy." So,
do you think Joker is more crazy than Tremont?
I wouldn't say physically, but mentally, Joker's crazy, man. I think Joker's definitely more crazy mentally than Tremont is physically. So,
now, do you have anybody that you want to work with in the future?
Dan Moff. Speaking of his name, is definitely one of them. That's actually I want it to happen and is going to happen now. I'll be wrestling Dan Moff at Ace Championship Wrestling on March 3rd, and that'll be the first time we ever lock horns. So
he's been ducking you.
No, I've been ducking him. I don't know what's going on there. Also knows that it's going to happen. It's going to be brutal, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be sick. Just thinking of that is like, it's crazy. You ready for those chops, man? Dan Moff has some brutal chops, man.
I got a big chest. I can take it.
And the burning hammer. Oh, yeah. So you also got to face Shane Douglas. How was working with him, too?
Working with Shane Douglas was really, really an awesome experience. And the reason why is because it was the first time I've ever felt like I was working with a normal human being. Like sometimes when you wrestle a draw, there's something about it that makes it feel extra special, which there is a reason why they're extra special. But working with Shane Douglas, even though he is extra special, was the first time I really felt like I was just talking to another guy. You know what I mean? Like he was telling me stories about his family and stuff like that. And it was the first time I ever really appreciated his life and how much he really did care about his family and how much he doesn't want people to go do the bad things that they do. So I mean, working with Shane Douglas not only was a great ring experience and learning from him, but mentally outside ring experience was definitely good to learn and listen from him. So
when you get those kinds of stories, does it give you kind of a picture of what it's like down the road of being a full-time wrestler as your full-time career?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess it's a little bit different from what it was back in the day as far as traveling. But looking down the road, if this is something I want to do 24/7, if I want to make this my job, it's something I'm going to be on the road for all the time. You know what I mean? If I am fortunate to work for something like WWE, that's a company that has you work 4 to 5 times a week. You know what I mean? So you just when you think you've made it, you still have something to prove every time. You know what I mean? And especially working at 4 or 5 days a week, you have a lot to prove.
And when it comes to the shows like that, would you prefer that you get a draw or something like a legend comes in and you get a match with a legend, or do you kind of prefer matches with indie talent that you've been working with?
That's a good question. Sometimes people look at working a draw and oh man, I'm working fucking Nikolai Volkov. Jesus Christ, what the fuck am I gonna do? But I mean, you have to. I would love to. I mean, why wouldn't you take a chance to work at a legend? Why wouldn't you take a chance to learn from somebody who has been there and done that? You know what I mean? But there is times where you do want to work that I'd rather work this awesome guy instead. You know what I mean? But I would always choose a chance to work a draw. You know what I mean? Not only do you get the opportunity, he gets to see you. If he talks to anybody, it's good connections or anything like that. So definitely, I'd rather work a draw any day.
So you want to talk about the transition from Jersey Championship Wrestling to Game Changer?
Sure.
This is a big difference from...
Yeah. I was working for a company, JCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling, and their current owner, Ricky Otuza, Ricky O, was running the company. He was also working with Danny Delanto, who was representing the company as well. And once Ricky wanted enough of the company, that company was then handed. Actually, my bad. Before Ricky O had left, JCW got sponsored by Game Changer World, which is a place in Howell, New Jersey, and it's called Game Changer Wrestling now, GCW. That's what it stands for. And as soon thereafter, Ricky O cut ties with GCW, and now full owners Danny DeMonto and Brett Lauderdale run GCW. It's definitely, from what you've seen lately, probably a little bit different than what you heard of in JCW shows in the past, where it's a lot of hardcore and deathmatch wrestling, but I don't see it as that still. You know what I mean? I'm still their champion, and I still plan on defending it in non-hardcore matches, so it's just what it is.
How would you, because you've done CZW and On Point, like, how would you compare it, the difference between the two?
I've only got the chance to work with CZW one time, unfortunately, and I would love to go back there if you're listening, DJ Hyde. But the one experience I had was I did a little quick run-in, which was supposed to set up for something, and first time I've ever been in this wrestled in the Flyer Skate Zone, and it was a great experience. You know, couldn't get too much out of it because there was so much going on and what the run-in involved and everything like that. So I really can't compare it to On Point, but I could definitely say that On Point is an awesome place to be, where people just want to see good wrestling, no matter who your name is or anything like that. They want to just see you go all out every time. So
yeah, Tremont, I mean, he's done a good job there.
Mm-hmm. Tremont does a really good job, along with Loudy, Jeff. He does a real good job putting together good shows. And Jim Molyneux, who runs Old Time Wrestling, gives him out that arena to run that show, which is awesome too. So
now, you've had the privilege of working with Arcadia. Can you tell us, because he's a Jersey All-Pro legend, can you talk about
Arc Nation,
about working with him, teaming with him?
Going back to the days, I've known Matt for Arcadia for a really long time. My bad. I've known Arcadia for a really long time, and working with him is always a great time, always really fun, and we always are always clicking on the same level too, because we want the same thing out of a match, and that's everybody to be into it at all times. I tagged with him at Jersey All Pro Wrestling, where we did a tag match with EYFBO, Private Party. That was it. Yeah, I think it was a 3-team match, and tagging with him was great. I mean, we never really did much tag stuff, but we got some good stuff in there. And yeah, like I said, Matt has always been a long, close friend, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to hurt him soon. But, I mean, that just happens.
For the title too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you used to wrestle barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
Barefoot was cool. Barefoot was, I mean, the coolest thing about it was not lacing up my boots, because that always takes some time. But wrestling barefoot was very comfortable until you hurt your foot. Because then it was like, oh, I miss my boots. And then there was a point where I sold my boots. So I was waiting for new boots. So I was like, waiting for them. But yeah, I mean, I really wore no boots to add to that woodsish type animalistic character, to feed more to the character. But I mean, I also went back to the boots because it's transitional, you know what I mean? I can't be, no one's going to believe this guy's actually come from the woods. Like, I mean, I do live in the woods or whatever, but I mean, I have to modernize the character to make it fit with the new age. So that's what it is. That's why I went back to the boots. And mainly, too, to protect myself as well.
You ever thought about branching out and like wrestling for like different companies, maybe like a WrestlePro or anything like that?
I have reached out to WrestlePro, and I've tried to get on a couple of their shows, and sometimes it was able to happen, but it was just conflicting dates. And sometimes in the wrestling business, you have to respect where you came from and go to that place first. So it just is what it is. I mean, I definitely don't put them out in the future. Would I like to work for WrestlePro? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But I like a lot of people there, so. You
were with SWF a couple of days ago, and you wrestled at Titus.
Mm-hmm.
He's growing leaps and bounds every day too. His name too. So when you get that dream match, was that something that you get so excited about, like prior, or was it something just another day?
Oh no, definitely was really excited. Like Brett was somebody who I've been on shows with multiple times, multiple places, and everything like that. Just never had a chance to wrestle him, and I was definitely excited going into that day. And I mean, the house that night was really good too, so it just added more fuel to the fire. Just step it up a little bit more, and I think our match was pretty well, and I really enjoyed it. So,
SWS is also in a transition period, right? So they're bringing a lot more bigger names than they're used to. Is that something that you see growing, almost like a rival to WrestlePro, almost? You know,
I have no clue. I wouldn't say anything that I'm not confident in saying over the situation. I just feel like they're two different entities, and that's just what it is right now.
Because there's always room for competition.
Yeah. I don't know. Competition is good, but it's got to be fair competition, you know? It's got to be nice competition.
They just had, like, Damian Gibbs and a couple of, like, Craven.
Okay, yeah.
So a couple of those guys have been on their show, too. Mm-hmm. So you're looking forward to maybe facing Gibbs and...
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely work with someone from that WrestlePro group, if that's what you're saying. Gibbs is another one of those people who I've been on shows with multiple times, just never had a chance to work with, and he's in phenomenal shape. So it seemed like it would be a good match to really go to distance. So.
Yeah. Then when you see things like now, kind of like WWE, when they're like swooping through the independents right now, they're basically picking up anybody that they can get, everybody they can get, especially with the brand division that they have going on. Does that kind of make you like, you know, think like, you know, to step up your game, to work harder?
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely,
so they can get their eyes on you.
Absolutely, man.
And kind of like, I guess a second part to my question would be like, what are you doing to, you know, separate yourself from everybody else to kind of like stand out?
Definitely, what you're saying is right. Stepping up my game is what I'm trying to do, what I've been doing, I think. And as far as branching out and making myself different than everybody else, is I try and just try and wrestle as much as I can. Most people like to seclude themselves to just one place or two places, but I feel more work is better.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I jump at the opportunity or something like that to let more people see me? Of course, you know what I mean. Yeah. It's free advertising for yourself. You know what I mean. You can invest in your money and going to schools, which is great. Invest your money in seminars or camps, which is great also. But working in front of a live crowd, that's mainly what you want to do. You know, get more eyes to see you.
You know, like we said, like, at least from my perspective, you know, we saw you, you know, you came up and then now, like you said, you're a prominent name in indie wrestling right now. Is there anybody else that you think that you see right now that you wrestle with that you think is like, they're going to be the next guy that's going to step up and they're going to be a prominent name in indie wrestling?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple people, even, there's one person from UWA in particular, Drake Chambers. He started branching out On Point Wrestling. People love him on On Point Wrestling, and I don't see, if he doesn't keep trying harder, why he can't be something like that on the indies, where he could be that guy on that show every time, impressing people. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a couple other names that are running in my head right now. TJ Bladen is another one from UWA, who I really think he's put himself into phenomenal shape over the past year. He works really hard, and he's having great matches. He's done a great match with Arcadia this past show at Setting the Standard.
Yeah, that was probably the second best match of the night, I thought. I thought your match was incredible.
Oh, thank you.
The gauntlet match.
The Ultimate Turmoil?
Yeah, Turmoil, yeah. Yep. I thought that was great. I thought that match was phenomenal, the one you're talking about. With just how everyone in the crowd was just so invested in there, you know. And both titles are, the championship is on the line. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he's fighting for not only for the championship, but, you know, his fallen friend Mike.
Yes.
And his brother. And so, that, I don't know, to me, I thought that was such a great way to close the show.
Oh, yeah.
I was kind of upsetting that he came up short, but now you are going to face Arcadia.
I mean, he may have fell up short, but he definitely proved to everyone that he is no one to be messed with as far as UWA goes, and he definitely proved that he can hang with the big boys, or so to say. Yeah, for sure.
Now, Andrew, he kind of like hit on something that I was thinking. Do you think like with independent wrestling, do you think it's good for companies that they kind of have like a storyline, and that they, you know, like he said, the crowd was invested in the match. Do you think it's good for things like that, or do you think like, you know, independent wrestlers, you know, since they don't run as often as like, let's say a WWE, TNA, or whatever, that they could just get off with just doing like, you know, just a regular match, and, you know, just come and see, hey, these two guys are just gonna wrestle.
There's two sides to that story. I mean, two ways you could look at that. As far as it goes, I think compelling stories are great. That's what people want nowadays. Raw and SmackDowns are complete perfect examples of it. You know what I mean? They draw us to a PG crowd, but it's also the largest crowd. You know what I mean? They draw in fans, and UWA is like a big example of that. They're a very storyline based kind of company. So, like Andrew was saying, everyone was really emotionally invested in that match, as far as it being compelling with up and downs and stuff like that. So, I mean, and then there's a way you can look at it where there's people who just want to run shows, you know what I mean, have the name on it and just draw a lot of people and make money. But I prefer definitely a storyline based show, you know what I mean? If you can catch somebody from storylines and bring them back every month, you're doing something right. You know what I mean? Yeah. You could pay as much money as you want to bring somebody in, but if you're giving somebody good storylines that draws them back every time, you're doing something right.
Yeah. And I think it's difficult in indie too, because most wrestlers, yourself, are wrestling for like 10 different companies. You know, like you said, Gibbs before, for example, you know, he's in the same thing. He's in like WrestlePro, GW, SFW. Like they're all in like, you know, 10 different companies. It's hard to keep consistent storylines. So most of them are short. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's hard to keep storylines. The only thing you can really do is protect yourself as far as storylines goes. But I mean, it's almost like it's two different worlds, which is right. as stupid as it is to look at. It's like it's two different worlds. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people go to the UWA Elite shows, and they don't go to any other shows. They want to see UWA Elite, and that's it. They go to those shows, and that's it. So as far as me going somewhere else, doing something else, they will never know about that. But there is those people who go to the UWA shows, and they go to the SWF shows. So, I mean, just try and protect those different worlds as best as you can.
Yeah. Do you have a match preference? Do you like the one-on-one matches, or does it depend who you're working with?
It doesn't really depend who I'm working with, but if I had to prefer a match, definitely one-on-one. Tag team wrestling is fun, really fun, but yeah, definitely one-on-one.
No steel cages?
I mean, I've only had a chance to work in a steel cage once, and that was a while ago, but it was fun. I wrestled for UWA Elite at Metuchen Sportsplex, and I wrestled Cypress in a steel cage match. That was pretty cool.
Have you ever tried anything like any of like the WWE tryouts or anything like that, or trying to get up there, Tough Enough, any of that stuff?
I've never had a chance to do WWE tryouts or anything like that, or submit. I mean, I felt as far as WWE submission is for Tough Enough is like, oh, dude, there's probably millions of people doing this. What makes it? I mean, that's an awful way to look at it. Yeah. You know what I mean? But so be it. But no, I definitely try hard. Like I was mentioning, investing in yourself is taking those times to do the camps, taking those time to do the seminars. I did 2 tryouts for Evolve in Joppa, Maryland. One of them was in August, which I had a great match, and I got good feedback from Gabe, and Drew Gulak, good feedback from him. And then I did another one in November, and Regal was the guest there. And again, I had another great match. I wrestled Mike Dell from WrestlePro. Yeah, and yep. And we had a good match. And unfortunately, there was not enough time for Regal to talk to everyone individually, but he talked to us in a group, and it was a good talk. But afterwards, I saw Drew Gulak probably months after, and he said to me that Regal really liked my stuff, and he liked what I did in the ring. So I mean, like you're saying, hearing things like that makes you just want to drive harder, go to the next tryout, go to the next camp. You know what I mean? Try and get seen more. So hearing things like that just really drives you even more. So
especially when like they have tournament after tournament, they're heading into like more tournaments, and like he said before, getting all these more and more indie guys, it's more opportunities.
Oh yeah, I mean, more opportunities is what I'm looking for. Yeah. I mean, It's never a bad thing. Everyone thinks it's a bad thing that, oh, WWE is ruining the indie scene. It's like, no, it's not. You got to think about it. These WWE guys that hire these indie guys, whether it be a month at a time, year at a time, 2 years at a time, they're helping them out so much just for giving that name WWE for a second, to give them that chance to learn. You know what I mean? They can ride that off now, you know?
A good example is that somebody actually faced, like Bull James.
Bull James, he's one of the ones I trained with at ECPW growing up.
And he got that exposure on NXT, and then he came back, and now he's running through all the indie shows that he was going through before. And now he's getting paid even more, and he's helping out other people by either putting them over or giving them a match where, like the match we were talking about before, where somebody else, even though they lost, they're still coming out on top. Fans, you know.
Yeah, definitely. James is one of the like you said, James is one of those prime examples. But also James is working really hard too. He's back at ROH. You know what I mean? He's trying to prove himself there again, and they seem to really like him. I don't think he's signed to anything yet, but I'm sure in the future I could see him being signed to something like Ring of Honor. You know?
Yeah. He was really a surprise person they let go. Because that was really out of nowhere. He was just in the middle of the Bullfit run. You keep up with NXT as well? Or WWE?
I try. It's sad. I mean, I try as hard as I can, but I really don't. I mean, I do when I get a chance to, but let's just say I slack. I'm a slacker.
Okay.
It just needs to step up. I try and catch 205 Live. 205 Live is awesome. I think it's a cool show. I watch that a lot. NXT I've been watching here and there, but I'm not really too much caught up on everything, I would say.
I think like 205 Live especially, that's like the perfect example of WWE putting the independents like on the main market right there.
Yeah, definitely.
And even if you look at a guy like even AJ Styles, like he was known, but like he came to WWE and he's like a megastar right now.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. So I can't see WWE hurting the independents. They're giving exposure to guys. They're even guys like you think like it's not really related. James Ellsworth, Kenny Omega right now, just because people are looking for a variety of wrestling and independents are such a big thing right now. Just looking at a guy like Kenny Omega, you like nobody would even be looking at like New Japan. Your average wrestling fan, but now they all independent wrestlers are known, and like wrestling is like a really like hot thing right now.
Independent wrestling is really hot right now. Definitely in this area too.
For sure, yeah. Jersey, I think, has one of like the best like varieties when it comes to
this choice of areas. Like I did a show, SWF show, and I was talking to Thunder Rosa, and I was like, I know you're from California. I was like, I've been trying to get out to the West Coast, and how is everything over there as far as like going there and wrestling? She's like, not gonna lie, it's not that great. I like it a lot here better. Like the scene is a lot better here as far as the show's going on and everything like that. So it was weird hearing that, but I guess this is the hot spot.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's always been a good area because South Philly, only an hour and a half away, and which is the home of ECW and those rabid fans. And then New York City is right up an hour away, you know, and that's, if you can make it in New York, you make it anywhere, right? So.
I hate going into New York so much.
Well, that's a huge market, though. Yeah,
it is.
And
it is.
Here's my other thing I had to ask you. Like, you look at a guy like Mike Orlando, right? And he is so good at branding himself.
Yes, he is.
Do you look at him and try to find a way to brand yourself as big as you can? Because he's going with the Topps cards, the T-shirts, and you have the T-shirts and the Polaroids.
Yeah.
Do you find a way to try to elevate?
I definitely, I mean, anything you can invest yourself into to make yourself more money is always a great thing. Like working independence and everything like that, you can make money and stuff like that, but I feel the best way to invest in yourself and make money as far as wrestling is gimmicks and stuff like that. Selling your T-shirts, selling your 8x10, selling your foam fingers or your little mask or sunglasses or everything like that. But yeah, definitely getting stuff like that to have your name on it for someone to wear is definitely more exposure for everyone to see. It's like, oh, Beast, sweet shirt. What does that mean? Oh, it's this wrestler from New Jersey. He's fucking cool. Like, that's easy way, Just easy way to reach out to different people who you never reach out to before.
So do you come up with the designs yourself for the t-shirts? Or?
That last one, the Beast t-shirt, yeah, I came up with that design myself. I actually made that in paint. And yeah, I came with that one. But I'm getting a new t-shirt design coming out soon. Hopefully we'll have it by the end of February.
Yeah, I get one in my size.
Yeah, definitely. Gotcha. Hopefully I have it up to 3X. So.
I wanted to buy your other shirt, and all they had was like 2, and like those would just shrink. Like
Yeah, the cotton ones
size.
seem to shrink a little bit.
So let me ask you now: is the goal to go beyond WWE? Maybe go to like Japan or something like that?
I think the goal is mainly to make it.
Make it.
You know what I mean? Whether it be going to Japan or working for WWE, definitely. I mean, if both got thrown at me at the same time, it's a pretty obvious decision, I think, of what I would choose there. Yeah. But I mean, whatever comes first to me, you know what I mean? I definitely would jump on the opportunity. Japan is definitely like a hot spot for wrestling, you know what I mean? Everybody is, like, you've seen those shows, everybody's in every goddamn thing they do in the ring, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I could imagine it's an awesome experience to work in a country like that. And I heard they treat wrestlers phenomenal there as far as being like a good person and being a celebrity. Everyone really like looks up to you. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing as well.
Have you ever thought about wrestling outside of the U.S. or have you wrestled outside of the U.S.?
I would love to. I haven't had the chance to. I would love to. Traveling is something I've really never done a lot of as far as wrestling. You know what I mean? Furthest I've ever gone for wrestling is like Indiana or something. Yeah. It's not too far. You know what I mean? I wrestled a little bit along the East Coast, but nothing really as far as outside, you know, New Jersey, Connecticut, or Pennsylvania, New York, or anything like that. But definitely, I mean, my first place would probably want to stop is somewhere in Canada. You know what I mean? Yeah. That one seems like everyone's first stop is to wrestle in Canada, and I would definitely love to do that in the future.
So, how many kickouts on finisher do you feel is too many?
Yeah. I mean, I can't say there's a perfect answer for that.
I need to know.
But I could definitely say there has to be a right way to build it to make it mean more. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say 5.
5.
Yeah,
oh,
sure.
Yeah, that's definitely too many.
It's never enough for Jesse.
I gotta ask you, you have any good Virgil stories?
No. I have no good Virgil stories. All I know is he tries to make fuck money, and that's all I really know.
Thank God. I don't know why, but these two love Virgil, and
Joey Janela loves Virgil. Also.
I don't get it, and it's like, and I'm the black guy, and I freaking hate him. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't know. These guys love fuck money.
He always has like an interesting story.
I think you guys just love lonely Virgil. You don't like Virgil. You just love lonely Virgil.
I like Virgil.
Sure you do.
He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
That's funny. He's so like
he puts every match on the network.
Like, oh yeah, I put like a Virgil match every time like these guys are over.
He's so informal too. I messaged him like, hey, want to come on the show? He's like, yeah, how much fuck money you giving me? I'm like, oh man, this is enough Virgil. That's enough of that.
Is there like this leads into my next question. Is there like a dream legend or somebody who just got released like Ryback or Cody on your match list?
I'm sure there would be one if I really, really thought about it, but nothing really comes to mind. One of them was Rhino, and I had the chance to work him in Sayreville, actually, for JCW at the time. And, yeah, I mean, I definitely say I get it a lot where people go, oh, you're a mini Rhino, which is definitely not too far-fetched, but definitely someone I really, watch a lot of and look into and look up to. So it was definitely a great experience to work with him.
I think Ryback and you would be a good
Ryback would be a good match. I don't know if I can handle the big guy. But, yeah, that would be cool. Definitely.
You're a big guy yourself, but you're athletic. Like, you could fly, So
not physically, but yeah, I can fly.
So, like, I mean, I feel like Ryback is a plotter, So I don't know. Like, what kind of guys do you like to go against?
Like the bigger guys or smaller guys?
Yeah.
Oh god, I don't like any
That
guys.
sounds-
I don't really have as far as like an opponent preference or something like that. I really don't have one. I mean, obviously, working with somebody smaller is fucking a field day. Toss
Yeah.
somebody around like a rag doll.
Yeah,
Shit's
yeah.
sweet.
Send them.
But it's also fun to be that guy. Like, who did I wrestle recently? I wrestled Keith Lee, and he's a fucking monster, dude. Like, he threw me around like a rag doll. I was like, woo! Like, this was fun. Like, finally, my feet in somebody else's shoes. So, I mean, definitely both sides of the story. But Keith Lee is definitely a prime example of me feeling that cruiserweight type of style of wrestling. You know, that was fun.
Like I was watching a match between you and Mac. It was before you guys teamed, obviously, and you guys would bump into each other, and you're standing up, going at it. Do you feel like when two big guys are in the match against each other, you're just trying to, like, I don't know how you say, like, it's like you're trying to outdo one another as far as like out hitting each other?
Oh yeah, definitely. We're trying to prove basically who's the bigger man.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Stand our ground. It's like if someone walks into my side of the woods, so to say, I'll get the fuck out of here. This is my shit. So like, definitely got to show me you deserve to be here, or that you want to be here, or put me on my ass and show me that you really need to be here. Like, so yeah, definitely.
I'll ask my last question. So, for, people who, they know Kyle the Beast now, but what's the message and, like, what's your goal for what you want to do in wrestling? And what can we expect from you this year?
Well, definitely my goal is to make it for some big-time company, sign a contract or something like that. Definitely one of my goals. And as far as the year goes, I definitely just want to keep working harder. You know what I mean? Keep doing those tryouts. Ring of Honor tryout is something I'm really looking forward to. The next one. Same thing with something like an Evolve tryout or something like that. Definitely just looking forward to putting in the time. You know what I mean? Trying to get myself with, even if it's simple as extra work for WWE, like something you got to be there to be seen. You know what I mean? You can't work your indies all life and just be like, oh, we're just going to take this guy. If you want to be somewhere, you got to show somebody you want to be there. You know what I mean? Along with great skill and great voice and talking and everything like that. But if you want to be there, you got to show somebody that. I can't expect someone to walk up to me and, tell me, hey, you got to show you want to be there. That's what it really comes down to.
So I have a two-part question.
No two-part question.
First one is, who's helped you with your promos?
I definitely watch a lot of promos. NXT is like a great example because those guys are learning promos too. You know what I mean? They're working hard every week to try and show themselves in those promos, their character and everything like that. But I mean, ultimately, the best teaching I ever got from somebody was, hey, when you're bored, just look in the mirror and cut promos on yourself. Call yourself stupid. Make yourself look great. You know what I mean? So Mirror has definitely been a great, experience. Not experience, but a great tool. You know what I mean? But, learning here and there from people. But ultimately, I think yourself is only going to get your confidence is only going to make you better as far as being a talker or something like that. So
the other thing was I wanted to ask you was, so you've got in the ring with Steve Scott and Joey Janela and Matt Tremont. Is there styles, like, do you feel like their styles match up pretty well with yours too?
As far as wrestling?
Yeah, because those were some good matches. So,
I could definitely say that our styles may not match up, so to say, but I definitely say that we're looking for the same thing in a match.
Okay.
As far as tearing down the fucking house, you know what I mean? And giving everybody a good show, but obviously making it make sense and everything like that. But yeah, Steve Scott is another one of those people who works just as hard as me, you know what I mean? And same thing with Joey. Joey, he's all over now, you know what I mean? He made his name for himself, and I'm very proud of him for that. So, good for him.
Yeah, my last question's a 2-part question.
Oh, no.
What's your favorite half-price app?
Oh,
And
God.
which would you suggest?
Oh, that's funny.
Favorite half-price app would have to be Boneless Sweet and Spicy, man. Blue cheese.
If that's
Boneless Sweet, quesadillas always hit the spot, but Boneless, can't go wrong with that. Sweet and spicy's on point.
With the wonton tacos.
Oh,
man.
dude, I used to eat those in the freeze ice and walk in the back. And just, me
Yeah,
and one
frozen.
cook. Yeah,
Those are my
dude.
favorite ones, man.
Sorry,
I love the
Applebee's.
wonton.
I wonder if Roger's
Blowing your
still
spot, Applebee's. Sorry.
That's hilarious, man.
But yeah, definitely the boneless wings for sure. And what was the second part of that question?
Just your suggestion.
Oh, suggestion. Get the quesadillas. Nah, fuck it. Or yeah, spinach chip is very underrated too. Spinach chip rules.
Really?
The mozzarella sticks. Come on.
Yeah, you get a
that's basic.
mozzarella stick. Yeah, that's basic.
Come on, man.
Can't mess up a
The
mozzarella
boneless wings are
stick.
good too.
Same thing, you can't mess up a hot dog.
That's funny.
Yeah,
And as far as future shows, got anything you want to plug?
Sure. Upcoming in February 24th, I'll be defending my GCW heavyweight championship against Joey Janela at in Great Meadows. And then the following day, I have my rematch with the Bulldozer, Matt Tremont, at Game Changer World in Howell, New Jersey. And it's going to be, I believe, a last man standing match. And I plan on being the last man standing. Then following week, have that match coming up with Dan Moff at Ace Pro Wrestling for the Ace Championship. Following day is I go back to On Point Wrestling, March 4th. So I forget the name of the show. I think it's No Glitz, No Glory, but it's headlined by Joey Janela versus Tony Deppen, and I'll be wrestling Ryan Gallione, who is a big motherfucker. But yes, I'll be wrestling him. And then the next day, March 5th, I forget the name of the company, but it's something in Suffering. It's their first show in Ridgefield, New Jersey, headlined by a lot of great people. But I could definitely shoot you some more info on that. I'm just drawing a blank on it right now.
Yeah.
And then following that, the next week is UW Elite Homecoming returns to North Brunswick High School, followed by March 11th, which is their next show at South River, New Jersey.
Right, so you got a lot of work coming up, man.
Yeah, man. As I said, just try and keep busy.
Yeah, and
Keep busy.
if everybody wants to keep up to date with you, where can they follow you at on social media?
Sure. They can follow me on Facebook at KYLEWINANT, where I post everything as far as upcoming shows. They can follow me on Instagram at KyleTheBeast26. Again, I post all my flyers for shows there. And lastly, you can follow me on Twitter at KTBeast526.
Get
You
the
can-
tees too.
What's that?
The tees too. Make sure you buy a tee.
Oh yeah, buy my t-shirts. I mean, they're kind of cool. I'm getting cooler ones though, so be ready for that.
Nice, awesome. Well, we thank you for your time.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Thank you for answering our questions. You guys can also follow us at Wrestling IQ 101, Twitter, Instagram. Check out the website, WrestlingIQ101.com. Make sure you make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page, all that fun stuff. And we are out.
Say your prayers and eat your vitamins.